There is a peculiar rhythm to the twin flame journey, one that often defies logic but is always full of deep purpose. It's a connection that moves not by the rules of the mind, but by the silent tides of the soul. One moment, there is closeness, intimacy that feels divine. The next, distance grows between the flames. A sudden withdrawal, silence where there was warmth. And for many divine feminines, this withdrawal seems to come just when they're beginning to feel happy again, whole again, peaceful within themselves. And that, understandably, feels confusing. Why would he pull away when she is finally in a good place? Let's look at this question with the depth it deserves. To begin unraveling this mystery, we must understand the essence of what twin flames truly are to each other. At the heart of this sacred connection lies a mirror, a divine, soul-level reflection. Everything one feels, becomes, or radiates is felt by the other, whether consciously or not. The connection doesn't fade with time or distance. It exists beyond the physical, operating in realms where the soul communicates through energy, frequency, and vibration. When the feminine begins to rise into her joy, into her radiance, it is not merely a personal milestone. Her growth sends a ripple through the bond. She becomes a beacon of light that gently but powerfully illuminates whatever still lies dormant within her masculine counterpart. And that light can be overwhelming. To the masculine, especially when he is still carrying unresolved wounds, her happiness becomes a reflection of what he has not yet found within himself. Her joy stands in contrast to his inner unrest. Her self-love may remind him of his own buried shame, his self-doubt, his unhealed guilt. And so, instinctively, he withdraws. Not because he wants to hurt her, not because he doesn't see her beauty, but because in that moment, her light exposes the darkness he still avoids within. This dynamic is not a rejection of her happiness. It's a mirror showing him what is yet to be embraced inside his own soul. And that often is where the deepest growth begins. When the feminine begins to experience peace within herself, when she stops chasing, stops longing, and starts pouring her energy back into her own spirit, it marks a sacred shift. This is a powerful stage in the journey. It's a return to wholeness, a return to self. The feminine in this space begins to truly embody love rather than seek it. She laughs again. She reconnects with her passions. She remembers her worth, not as an idea, but as a living truth. But this state of joy is not passive. It is radiant. It sends signals through the ether. And what many do not realize is that the masculine feels it deeply. Often before he consciously understands what he's sensing, his soul reacts. The energy becomes undeniable. And where the feminine feels uplifted, the masculine may feel confronted, not by her actions, but by the energy she now carries. This is where things often get confusing, because from the feminine's perspective, happiness should attract union, and in many ways, it does. But before the union can fully anchor, the masculine must also match her frequency. And if he's not ready, if he's still resisting his inner healing, then her joy triggers a protective mechanism in him. He might retreat, he might grow cold, he might even seem irritated by her light. It's important to know, this withdrawal is not permanent. It is a soul recalibration. In truth, it is often a sign that the connection is evolving. Because he is no longer reacting to her pain or her longing, he is now reacting to her power. And that means something deep within him is being stirred. To understand why the masculine often withdraws in the face of feminine joy, we must gently look into his internal world. The masculine in the twin flame dynamic often carries layers of emotional suppression, fear of vulnerability, and a deeply ingrained belief that love must be earned through pain or proving. When he sees the feminine radiate happiness without his presence, without needing his validation or approval, something old and deeply buried within him begins to ache. That ache is not about her happiness. It is about his perceived inadequacy. He sees her moving forward, glowing, expanding, and a voice inside him whispers, "I don't deserve her light." This voice doesn't come from his conscious mind. It arises from childhood wounds, from ancestral patterns, from lifetimes of emotional armor. Her joy makes him feel exposed, not because she's doing anything wrong, but because her light is uncompromising. And he, still armored in parts of himself, doesn't know how to meet that kind of energy just yet. This withdrawal is often subconscious. He may not even understand why he's avoiding her. He may try to distract himself, immerse in work, or run back to familiar patterns. It's not because he doesn't feel the connection. It's because the connection is asking him to feel more than he's ever allowed himself to feel. And that level of vulnerability can feel unsafe to someone who has learned to guard their emotions. In these moments, the feminine must hold compassion, not as a martyr, not through waiting or suffering, but through understanding. His withdrawal is not proof that she is unworthy. It's proof that the light she now carries is powerful, and that power is asking him to rise. There's another layer often missed in this sacred withdrawal, and it's the masculine's hidden fear of becoming irrelevant. When the feminine starts to truly thrive without him, a part of him questions his role. For so long, perhaps he felt she needed him to feel complete. And now, witnessing her strength, her growth, her independence, he begins to wonder where he fits in this new landscape. This fear is not rooted in ego alone. It's also rooted in love. He wants to matter. He wants to be her hero, her protector, her safe place. But if she seems too content, too untouched by his absence, it challenges his identity. Again, this reaction is rarely conscious. But energetically, he pulls back, not to punish her, but to retreat and reevaluate his place in her world. The feminine's happiness then becomes an invitation, not a rejection of the masculine, but an opportunity for him to rewrite what it means to love and be loved. Instead of being needed in a way that drains or defines him, he is now being called to show up as an equal, as a partner who chooses love freely, not from obligation, but from soul alignment. This is a deeper kind of relationship, one that transcends dependency, one that doesn't rely on fixing each other's wounds, but holding space for each other's becoming. And while that's beautiful, it's also intimidating for someone who has never experienced love without losing themselves in it. So when he withdraws, understand this. He is not leaving her joy behind. He is learning how to meet it on his own terms. When the masculine withdraws, the feminine is faced with a sacred choice. She can fall into fear, wondering if she did something wrong, or she can stay rooted in her own inner light. And while the temptation to chase or explain or prove herself may arise, this is precisely the moment where her own soul invites her to stand still in her essence. Holding space doesn't mean waiting. It doesn't mean dimming her light in the hope that he'll return. It means staying devoted to her own joy, her own healing, her own expansion, while keeping her heart open. It means trusting the connection without needing to control its timeline. It means continuing to dance with life, knowing that her happiness is not the reason for his retreat, but the very energy that will eventually guide him home. In this stage, the feminine is asked to embrace a higher form of love, one that doesn't demand presence to feel secure, one that doesn't attach its worth to external validation. Instead, she becomes a lighthouse, a steady flame, and in doing so, she reclaims her sovereignty. This is not abandonment. This is mastery. Let her continue to smile. Let her continue to create. Let her continue to live. Because her happiness is not a threat to the connection, it is a promise, a preview of the union to come. And even if he cannot join her now, the soul always remembers where the light is. When the feminine stands strong in her light, calm, clear, and centered, something powerful begins to shift within the masculine. It may not be immediate, it may take time, but slowly, something inside him begins to stir. Her energy, once entangled with need or longing, now feels different. It feels peaceful, it feels whole, and he feels it, even if he doesn't know how to explain it. Her light, which once made him feel exposed, now starts to feel familiar, like a place he once knew but forgot, like something sacred calling him home. In the beginning, his return may not look like much. He might send a message out of the blue. He might think of her often, more than he ever admits. He might dream of her or feel her presence in quiet moments. These are not accidents. They are signs that his soul is remembering what it once tried to push away. He begins to feel the connection again, not as pressure, but as warmth. Not as something that asks him to change, but as something that welcomes who he is, right here, right now. And slowly he begins to soften. He starts looking at himself in a new way. He begins to question the walls he's built. He notices the places within that still feel heavy, still feel unloved. And as he does this inner work, he begins to understand her happiness was never a threat. It was never meant to leave him behind. It was an invitation, a silent call for him to find that same happiness within himself. He begins to return, not as someone searching for her to fix him, but as someone willing to grow with her. He's no longer running from her light, he wants to stand in it, and he wants to bring his own light with him too. This is a different kind of love than he's known before, one that doesn't demand anything, one that just is, strong, steady, free. When this shift happens, something sacred begins to unfold. Two souls who once triggered each other now begin to reflect peace. They don't come together because one needs the other. They come together because they both chose to become what they needed. They chose healing. They chose truth. They chose themselves. And now they can choose each other from a place of wholeness. This is where real union begins. It's not loud. It's not rushed. It's tender, quiet, safe. It's love that's been through the fire and came out pure. The kind of love that doesn't just survive separation, it becomes stronger because of it. Not by chance, but through transformation, through patience, through soul work. The return of the masculine is never just about a reunion. It's about rebirth, his, hers, and the bond they share. And this rebirth leads to a connection that no longer breaks when tested. It deepens, it grows, and it lasts. There may come a moment in your journey where you finally feel at peace, where you found joy again, strength again, yourself again. And just when you begin to bloom, he disappears. The silence returns, the connection feels distant, and it hurts in ways that are hard to explain. But please remember this. His withdrawal is not a punishment. It's not a rejection. It's a moment of pause, a sacred, necessary space. It's where the soul reshapes itself. It's where the energies realign, where the heart catches up with the growth. On the outside, it might look like nothing is happening, but underneath the surface, everything is moving. Healing is unfolding. The divine is rearranging things so both of you can meet in a higher place. This journey is not about waiting. It's about trusting. It's about continuing to walk forward, even when you can't see the whole path. It's about staying loyal to your own joy, your own soul, your own truth. Not pretending to be happy, but truly choosing a life that nourishes you. Not for him, not for the connection, but because your spirit deserves to shine. You were never too much. Your happiness was never the problem. Your light did not push him away. It simply lit up the places he still needs to love within himself. And that takes time. That takes courage. That takes soul work. You are not being left behind. You are being lifted. You are being shown just how strong, wise, and beautiful you really are. You are becoming the version of yourself that the connection has always asked you to become. And in doing so, you're giving him the space to become his highest self too. When the fear comes, and it will, choose faith instead. When the doubts whisper you've lost him, let your heart answer, I have not lost anything that is meant for me. Because what is meant for you does not drift away. It transforms, it pauses, it recalibrates. And when the time is right, it returns stronger. This path is not easy. It asks a lot of you, but it also gives back in ways nothing else can. It brings you home to yourself. It teaches you how to love with open hands, not clinging ones. It helps you become a sanctuary for yourself and for love. So keep going. Keep believing in the unseen. Keep trusting the silence. Because in the silence, the soul is speaking. And what it's saying is this: real love doesn't disappear. It evolves. And when it returns, it brings with it something more beautiful than you could have imagined. Stay bright in your softness. Stay strong in your gentleness. Stay open in your heart, because you are not waiting for love. You are walking beside it, even now, even here, even in the quiet. Love has not left. It is learning how to return as something greater. And so are you.